In this video, we are going to study about the changes in the female genital tract during the reproductive period. First, we'll study about the ovarian cycle. The rhythmical changes in the ovary comprising of primordial follicles, then mature Graafian follicle, then ovulation and formation of corpus luteum constitute an ovarian cycle. Usually, each cycle is repeated at 28 days interval. Although many follicles, about 5 to 12 follicles undergo a process of maturation in each cycle, only one follicle fully matures and ruptures, shedding the oocyte. Rest of the follicles become atretic and they are converted into the interstitial cells. So now we'll see about the structure of the mature Graafian follicle. So here you can see the secondary oocyte with the first polar body in the perivitelline space, zona pellucida, then cumulus ovoricus, antrum folliculae filled with liquor folliculae, then stratum granulosum resting on the basement membrane, then you have the tunica interna and tunica externa. The cells of stratum granulosum are avascular, whereas tunica interna cells are permeated with capillaries. The maturation of the Graafian follicle is stimulated by the secretion of follicle stimulating hormone, which is secreted from the anterior pituitary gland. The cells of tunica interna and the stratum granulosum of the follicle, they secrete in turn the estrogen. The estrogen is the primary sex hormone of the ovary, and the effects of estrogen are it brings the development of the secondary sexual character, including the growth of the mammary gland, arouses libido towards the opposite sex, and helps in the repair and subsequent proliferation of the endometrium before ovulation, increases the glycogen content of the vaginal mucosa and prevents it from keratinization, and prior to ovulation, the estrogen level of the blood is increased sufficiently to inhibit the secretion of follicle stimulating hormone. At the same time, it stimulates the secretion of luteinizing hormone of the anterior pituitary. The LH surge is important for the conversion of the primary oocyte into secondary oocyte and initiates the ovulation. The feedback effects of the estrogen on the anterior pituitary are triggered by releasing hormones from the hypothalamus. Next, we'll see about the ovulation. Ovulation means the rupture of the Graafian follicle with the liberation of the secondary oocyte from the ovary. It takes place at about the middle of the menstrual cycle. Irrespective of the length of the menstrual cycle, the ovulation occurs approximately 14 days before the onset of next menstrual bleeding. Therefore, the time limit between the ovulation and succeeding menstruation is constant, although much variation is observed between ovulation and preceding menstruation. Immediate cause of ovulation is due to the increased secretion of luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary. After ovulation, the walls of the follicle collapses and it is converted into a mass of the cells that is known as the corpus luteum. So, luteinizing hormone forms corpus luteum by causing ovulation. So, this is a picture to show the structure of the corpus luteum. Initially, the bleeding does not take place within the ruptured follicle as it was previously suggested because the stratum granulosum is avascular. The stratum granulosum enlarges and they proliferate by mitosis and they contain the yellowish carotenoid pigment in their cytoplasm, and they form the long columns of epithelial cells. Meanwhile, the capillaries grow inward from the surrounding stroma. The enlarged granulosa cells are called as the granulosa lutein cells, which forms the main bulk of the corpus luteum. Some of the cells of the tunica interna increase in size and they lie in periphery and in between the lutein cells, and these are known as the theca lutein cells or the paraluteal cells. The formation of the corpus luteum is stimulated by the secretion of the luteinizing hormone of the anterior pituitary. In addition, the luteinizing hormone initiates the ovulation. The granulosa lutein cells secretes mainly the progesterone and small amount of the estrogen, and the theca lutein cells secrete estrogen only. The progesterone of the corpus luteum exhibit the following effects in the female. It stimulates the secretory phase of the endometrium so as to prepare the uterus for the reception and the nourishment of the fertilized ovum. It increases the tone, lessens the contraction of the uterine muscles, and prevents the expulsion of the developing embryo from the uterus. It depresses the secretion of the follicle stimulating hormone from the anterior pituitary so that during the formation of the corpus luteum, the maturation of the follicle is suppressed. It is observed that the follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the formation of luteinizing hormone through the estrogen secretion of the follicles, whereas the luteinizing hormone depresses the secretion of the follicle stimulating hormone through the progesterone of the corpus luteum. In the absence of the pregnancy, the corpus luteum has a span of life for only 12 to 14 days after ovulation and reaches a diameter of 1 centimeter. So this is known as the corpus luteum of menstruation. After that period, it suddenly regresses as a result of degeneration of the luteal cells. The sudden withdrawal of the progesterone initiates the menstrual bleeding. Finally, the corpus luteum is reduced to a fibrous nodule that is known as the corpus albicans. If the ovum is fertilized and embedded in the endometrial wall of the uterus, the trophoblasts, they secrete the chorionic gonadotrophic hormone which stimulates the corpus luteum to grow and prolong its activity. This is known as the corpus luteum of pregnancy. It continues to secrete the progesterone up to the end of the 4th month, after which it regresses slowly. Next we'll see about the uterine cycle or menstrual cycle. The periodic structural changes of the endometrium of the uterus during the reproductive life is known as the uterine or menstrual cycle. The cycle is manifested by the phases of growth, degeneration, and exfoliation of the endometrium into the uterine cavity. The process of exfoliation is associated with uterine hemorrhage, which is known as the menstruation, which persists for 3 or 4 days. The cycle is counted from the first day of one menstrual bleeding to the first day of the next menstrual bleeding. On an average, the cycle is repeated at an interval of 28 days. But the duration of the cycle may be variable in different individual and in the same individual at different periods of life. The hormones liberated from the ovary during the ovarian cycle regulate the various phases of menstrual cycle. Next we'll see about the different phases of the menstrual cycle. So first is the proliferative phase. It is also known as the follicular phase, and then you have the secretory phase, which is also known as the progesterone phase, and then you have the menstrual phase. In the follicular phase, it is characterized by the repair and subsequent growth of the endometrium following the previous menstruation. The repair work requires about 4 days to complete, and the rest of the phase is known as the interval phase, in which the growth of the endometrium takes place. And during this time, it grows above 1 to 3 millimeters in thickness, and there is a generalized active proliferation of the entire endometrium. The epithelial lining cells of the surface and the tubular glands become columnar, and the uterine glands increase in length and they remain straight. The cells of the endometrial stroma are arranged in 3 layers. A superficial layer that is known as the stratum compactum, and the intermediate layer that is known as the stratum spongiosum, and the deep basal layer that is known as the stratum basale. The overall changes of the endometrium are encountered by the estrogen that is derived from the maturing Graafian follicle, and the ovulation takes place at the end of the proliferative phase. So this is a histological picture to show the follicular phase, and this is the endometrium and this is the myometrium. The endometrium has 3 layers: the stratum compactum, which is a superficial layer, the stratum spongiosum, which is the intermediate layer. This 2 layer forms the functional layer, and the stratum basale, which forms the basal layer. And here you can see the cells lining the surface, and the uterine glands becomes columnar, and the uterine glands increase in length and they remain the straight. Next we'll see about the secretory phase. The changes in this phase are due to the action of the progesterone and the estrogen of the corpus luteum. In this phase, it is characterized by the further growth of the endometrium, which may reach up to 5 to 7 millimeter in thickness, and the increase in the thickness is due to increased amount of tissue fluid in the stroma, accumulation of secretion within the glands, so that the glands are dilated and convoluted with their epithelial cells presenting a sawtooth appearance. Then there is an increase in the size of the stromal cells due to the accumulation of glycogen and lipid droplets in their cytoplasm, and this change in the stromal cell is called as the decidual reaction, which is more pronounced during pregnancy. The growth of the endometrium is associated with the increased tortuosity of the spiral artery, which supply the compact and the spongy layers of the endometrium. The stratum basale takes no part in the cyclical change because it has a different blood supply. Towards the end of the secretory phase, the sudden regression of the endometrium takes place due to the diminished concentration of the progesterone in the circulating blood subsequent to the degeneration of the corpus luteum. The endometrial regression precedes the menstrual bleeding, hence this part is also known as the premenstrual phase. This is a histological picture to show the secretory phase. So here you can see the enlargement of the uterine gland with the secretion, and you can see the coiled arteries, and you can see the increase in the size of the stromal cells, and this appearance is known as the sawtooth appearance. Next we'll see about the menstrual phase. As the endometrium regresses, the spiral artery becomes more coiled and the circulation through them diminishes. Thereafter, vasoconstriction affects the spiral artery one by one so that the endometrium is blanched. This is followed by the dilatation of the arteries, and the blood escapes through the damaged capillary wall into the intercellular spaces with eventual detachment of small pieces of endometrium. This phase lasts for about 3 to 5 days, and it is characterized by shedding of the stratum compactum and spongiosum together with some amount of blood. The average amount of blood loss is about 50 to 60 ml, and the blood usually does not clot because of proteolytic enzymes which prevent the coagulation. The cause of menstrual bleeding is mostly due to the sudden withdrawal of the progesterone from the blood. In anovular menstruation, where ovulation and subsequent formation of corpus luteum do not occur, the bleeding takes place due to the withdrawal of the estrogen from the blood. When the ovum is fertilized, the secretory phase of the endometrium is prolonged by the action of the progesterone from the corpus luteum of pregnancy. The endometrium is prepared for the implantation of fertilized ovum, and the menstruation does not take place as long as the period of gestation continues. This is a histological picture of the menstrual phase. So here you can see the disintegrating, the stratum functionalis, and then you can see the blood in the disintegrating uterine glands, and you can see the blood clots in the lamina propria and the coiled arteries with the hemorrhage inside.